Earlier, I sat down with Oklahoma State veterinarian Becky Brewer to learn more about how animal ID protects our food supply. Dr. Brewer, why is the animal ID issue so important to our state's billion-dollar cattle industry?
One of the reasons that, and probably the key reason that it is so important, is the fact that we need to be able, in the face of a disease outbreak, to isolate that disease, identify where it came from, identify what animals have been exposed to the infected animals. And if we don't have identification, if we can't go and find out where an animal's been, what other animals the animal's been with, then it slows down the eradication process.
And this has been an issue that producers have been reluctant to embrace.
Absolutely, and I think there are a couple of really valid points that have been of concern to Oklahoma producers as well as producers in the United States. One is confidentiality of their information. In today's society with identity theft, everybody wants to be ensured that information we hold as a government entity, as a state agency, is kept confidential. And we have in Oklahoma in 2003 enacted a law that protects that information. It is available only for disease surveillance, disease eradication, and for cattle theft issues and trying to identify cattle and cattle theft. Other than that, it cannot be released in an open records request. Federally, they have been a little bit slower to come along and to ensure us that that information is confidential. A week ago, a federal judge handed out a decision by a group that requested all animal ID information be given to them in a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information request. That judge's decision was that animal ID data, premise numbers, cattle ID numbers, are not subject to FOIA request and are protected by the U.S. Privacy Act. So I think now we have a pretty good comfort level, a very good comfort level, that that information that we hold to use only in disease outbreaks in surveillance is not available if queried by individuals that you don't want to have your information. One of the other problems, I think, is we're worried about speed of business. We're worried about making changes in the way we've always done things. And if you're working in a livestock market, you've got to move those cattle through quickly, and the slower it goes through, the more it costs. Technology's coming around. It's much, much faster. And we can do speed of business. We may have to make a few changes. Missouri, almost all of the livestock markets in Missouri have some form of electronic ID readers available, and the Joplin market does a great job. I would highly recommend, if anybody wants to see how that works, contact that market, go up, make a little road trip, and visit and watch it at work.
And while this information is limited, what the government would collect, you believe that in the unfortunate case there was a disease outbreak, it could well save the industry?
Absolutely. It is basically just a way that we can have a farm identification location, a telephone directory, if you will, an ability to trace a positive cow back to where did she get infected. And by doing that quickly, we can more efficiently close down the disease, eradicate the disease, and get back to business.